The chairman of FEA, the CEO, the management and staff of FEA, Gulunak, and very good afternoon. My apologies once again for the delay. We've had a fairly busy day. As you know, that we've also launched e-ticketing yesterday. And I'm sure all of you are using e-ticketing, those who travel by bus. And it's actually working quite well. We've of course had some teething issues, as we expect with anything new, but in fact we're just looking at some of the statistics. The number of complaints we've actually received is about 0.03 of the percentage of the users who are actually using e-ticketing cards. So it's actually working quite well. Nonetheless, of course, there's some issues that need to be ironed out, and that's why, in fact, I was a bit late for that. So my apologies once again. I feel like I'm like a frequent, flyer to FEA, or what do you call, when you go and stay at a hotel too many times, you get certain bonus points. I was saying to the chairman, I seem to be frequenting this place, and of course, it's always for very good reasons that I've been frequenting here, and essentially that is because of your performance. As you know, that earlier on this year, we were here to give out the $1.5 million, which is a special bonus payment that you received. All of you received that. And today we are here, of course, to announce a sum of $1.480681.9 million that you'll be receiving as your performance-based bonuses that you'll be receiving, or performance-based increments that you'll be receiving as one-off payments for the fact that you've done actually well. Ladies and gentlemen, one issue that of course is very, very important. There are two aspects to any organization. One is as to how the organization does in itself, the total output of the organization. And the other, of course, is how individuals have actually contributed towards that organization actually doing well. And today, of course, we are recognizing the individuals based on their level of input into the productive capacity and the output of Fiji Electricity Authority. $1.48 million, actually, ladies and gentlemen, is quite a substantial amount of money. That, of course, the bulk of it goes to the salary and wage earners of 739 of you. And then, of course, then you have the unit leaders and the executive management. So it's very, very good news. I thought that you all break out into applause by now, but maybe I'll just wait for that. But thank you once again for your hard work and for your contribution. As your chairman has said, that today actually Fiji is in a very, very important space, and that is that Fiji, of course, is the presidency of COP23. One of the issues pertaining to climate change is about renewable energy, because the reason why we actually have so much carbon in the air, which actually leads to global warming, is the fact that we emit too much carbon. When I say we, I don't necessarily mean Fiji per se, but it's in the world. And as a result of that, we, of course, in order to bring down the temperature levels down to 1.5 degrees Celsius, which is the acceptable level that we are contending, we need to be able to reduce the carbon footprint overall in the world. That means we need to rely more on renewable energy sources. So, for example, the less diesel we burn, the less carbon we put out into the atmosphere. The more of you take public transportation and as opposed to taking individual cars, the less carbon we'll put out into the air. So FEA, of course, is a very pivotal facilitator in respect of helping us to meet our objectives in terms of reducing our carbon footprint. Fiji individually, as a country, has given a pledge through the NCDs that we will reduce our carbon footprint by 30% by 2030. And FEA obviously will play a very pivotal role, and it's very critical that FEA remains very much part and parcel of the COP23 initiatives that we have engaged in. There's a number of course, projects that we'd like FEA to be involved in, and FEA, through a chairman and his energy and his, with eye for detail, has managed to actually position FEA to a spot where it probably would not have been if it weren't for his input and his acumen. So, I just wanted to sort of change gears slightly. Electricity is very important. I've said this to you before. Recently, I was just in Lautoka, and I was talking to some of the new shops that have opened, like Tapu City, etc., and various other places around Fiji. And people were saying to me, they said they cannot understand how people are just spending so much money. There's obviously the economic activity is quite high, but for example, the moment you connect people to electricity, you'd be surprised things that you take for granted. If you literally go to some of these towns and cities like Lautoka and Ba, etc., if you go on a Saturday, you'll see how many people actually coming from the rural areas and placing orders to buy their first big fridge, buying their first microwave machine, buying their first electric iron, buying their first washing machine. Many of the amenities that you take for granted, actually, they have access to, or they now have access to, because of the fact you've connected them to electricity, which of course drives consumer demand for goods and services, which of course means we collect more VAT, which also means at the same time we need to have more foreign reserves, because in the budget consultations we've been having and various other consultations, and I say to people, a lot of people don't realize the need to actually have a very high level of foreign reserves. None of these things that I've just talked about are actually made in Fiji. We actually buy them from overseas. When we buy these things from overseas, we don't buy them in Fijian dollars, we buy them in Japanese yen, US dollars, Australian dollars, New Zealand dollars, euros. So we need to have enough foreign currency available, in particular when the economy is actually growing at such a fast rate compared to what it was. So all of these actually plays into the economic capacity of what the country is actually, where it is, where it's positioning itself. Last but not least, of course, none of this is possible. The economy is now growing 8 years in a row, straight stretch. Never been done before in our history. We've grown about 7 years straight stretch, or consecutively, twice before, once post-independence, one in the 1990s, but never 8 years. We're now projected to grow for at least another 3 years or so. Unprecedented. So we need to be able to take advantage of it. We simply cannot say, however, that, oh, look, we're growing, this is great, let's all sit back and enjoy it. No, we actually have to be able to take advantage of it. This is why it's very, very important that we need to be able to build the capacity in our human capital. So FEA, I'm sure through your chairman, will want to make sure that you have better training. We'll want to make sure that you have younger graduates coming in to be able to take various positions, to be able to specialize in different areas. That is very, very important, because the economy is good as how many people you actually have trained in specialized positions. A few weeks ago, I was in front of a bunch of lawyers, and I said to them that most lawyers in Fiji don't specialize. Most of them actually run their own practice. Most law firms, they have only one lawyer, 2 lawyers, they own the law practice, but they don't specialize. You don't find a law firm, for example, that specializes in infrastructure law, purely doing infrastructure law, or any law firm that maybe, say, specializes only in one area of practice. We need to be able to do that, to be able to take advantage of the economic growth that we have, and to be able to build a capacity. I was with the e-ticketing team yesterday, and I was talking to the acting CEO of Vodafone. The average age across the organization is 27. If you took out the few older ones at the top, the average age would be 24. So Vodafone essentially is run by people below the age of 30. Most of these people have, about over 90–80% of them actually have first degrees. About 53% have a second degree. Now, so we can actually safely say that as far as mobile telephone technology is concerned, and any of the related matters to it, we're actually in safe hands. Because when somebody's 23, 24 years old, they have the level of exposure, they have the level of experience, we know that they can adopt more technology and bring in new ideas. So what Fiji actually needs and requires is for us to be able to move to the next stage is more new ideas, more young people, more brighter energy, and newer energy, and new ways of thinking. Only then we can actually really achieve that true prosperity that we all want, and in fact be able to improve the lives of ordinary men and women. The example that I've used with the school kids, when I did the budget consultations about the importance of electricity, I said when you're driving along the highway and you have somebody, a villager or somebody who's a fisherman, who actually catches fish and sells fish by the roadside, and they don't have electricity, so they'll have to sell the fish. Come by the afternoon, if they have not sold the fish, they'll actually have to reduce the price of the fish, because otherwise they know they don't have a refrigerator or a cooler, the fish will either rot or they have to eat it or they have to give it away. The moment you connect them with electricity, they will not bring down the price of the fish. They'll know that they can cool it. They'll put it in the cooler if they have not sold it. Next day you drive past, they'll have the same fish, they'll throw water on it and say fresh fish for sale. The fact of the matter is the income levels have not reduced. So this is what you call building the productive capacity and the ability to increase people's income levels through such basic amenities that we all take for granted. So ladies and gentlemen, the point being is that you play a very pivotal role in all of this. And your chairman and your CEO and the board, of course, have through government discussions, we have said you need to continuously invest in your people. We want Fijians to stay in Fiji. We don't want you to migrate. We don't want you to go other weird places. We want you to stay in Fiji and to be able to contribute to the growth of your country, because Fiji, of course, is an excellent place to live in. if you have a good job, if you have good living, and of course, as you can see, the amenities all increasing. The services that we have available in Fiji actually improving too, quite significantly. So thank you once again for your input. I'd like to again publicly acknowledge the CEO and his management team, and of course the chairman of FEA. I think it would be not enough for me to thank him because I think Dakshesh Patel has actually brought a particular way of thinking, a particular brand and new type of energy that FEA has probably not hitherto had before. I'd like to thank him for that. He spends his time between Fiji and Sydney. He's got his family there, so sometimes people make all these small sacrifices for their country of birth, and of course don't take anything in return for it. So thank you once again, and I wish you all a very happy Diwali, but before that a very good Independence Day. Happy Diwali, and of course Merry Christmas. Vinaka, thank you.